Novel, Hail the King. Chapter 6, Unexpected Power. Faye was startled. Max gaming time for today. What's that? He wasn't expecting something like this to happen, just as he was just getting ready to go back to the rogue encampment. Faye's vision blurred the next second. The whole world started to twist and fade right in front of his eyes. Then complete darkness hit him. Faye reopened his eyes, and found himself in the king's palace again. Magnificent decors, splendid furniture, and the dark red, gold-gilded king-sized bed were the complete opposite of the dark, bloody feel of the Diablo world. What happened? Did I just have a nightmare? Faye was confused. Faye was still lying on the bed. The only difference between pre-nightmare and post-nightmare was that he felt very hot and was dripping sweat, as if he just came out of a sauna room. He pushed himself up the bed, and surprisingly found out that the dizziness he felt when he just woke up in this world disappeared, so were the pain from his head and chest injuries. How did? Was that not a dream? Faye subconsciously felt that something special had happened to him, but he couldn't point out where. The whole palace was quiet. No one was around. Faye got out of the bed, and stretched a little. The sound of ripping cloth. Faye's white night turtleneck shirt suddenly got teared open on many spots. If you looked at him at that moment, you would probably conclude that he was a homeless guy, judging from the ripped shirt, as well as his torn pants. Damn, what is this? Faye got a little scared. All the stuff that happened to him made his nerves a little bit weaker. He felt as though he was close to having a mental breakdown. He looked down and upon closer inspection, he realized that the clothes he was wearing was a little bit small for his size. When he was stretching, he easily tore open the uncomfortably small clothing. What's this pitiful quality? Who makes such clothes for a king? Wind breezed through the palace, and Faye felt the chill. He was almost naked. Crap, I have to find something to wear. Faye glanced around the palace and found a wardrobe-like piece of furniture. He opened it up and found that there were many luxurious clothing in it. He picked out a fitting black night shirt and pants. He put them on and walked toward the mirror. The man in the mirror shocked Faye. It was a man about 6 feet tall. His shoulder-long black hair was bundled to the back of his head by a ruby hair ring. His handsome, manly face and ripped body could make any woman fall for him. God damn. This handsome son of gun in the mirror is me. Faye wouldn't believe it, it was unreal for him. After the dancing around sketchily in front of the mirror, and seeing that the man in the mirror mirrored his movements, he finally accepted it. Man, oh man, oh man. Although that Alexander was a retard, but he's got quite a face. Haha, he is way more handsome than me. Faye can't stop posing in front of the mirror, as if he had just discovered a new continent. From now on, I'm Alexander. Faye said to himself happily. After his new discovery, he walked towards the row of medieval full knight armors, at the center of the palace. He picked a suit of armor about his height, and pulled out the double-handed sword that the armor was holding. He swung the sword forcefully, trying to get a feel of power and being a king. But after he did that, his facial expression went weird. How is this so light? This isn't a plastic toy, is it? A majestic 5 feet long double-handed sword had to weigh at least 30 to 40 pounds. But Faye felt like he was holding a feather, there was no weight to it at all. It was strange. Faye struck the full metal armor with the sword just to see if the sword was a toy or not. But the unexpected happened. The armor was 1 centimeter thick. The sword went through it easily, as if Faye was cutting through a piece of paper. The strike cut the armor in half, with the upper half of the armor shortly landing on the ground and making another sound. Holy shit. Although Faye didn't believe in God or ghosts, but there was no other way to explain what had happened. Why am I so strong now? Faye subconsciously swung the sword again, but he still didn't feel any weight. The double-handed sword was clearly a real weapon. This feeling. Faye closed his eye trying to remember the way he handled the sword. It felt the same as when he was a barbarian in the dream, swinging the double-handed axe at the monsters. Did I? Faye was shocked. Did I bring back the power of my barbarian character from the dream into the real world? He couldn't get the thought out of his head, and quickly went about to test this unlikely hypothesis. He put the sword back to the damaged armor, and looked at other weapons in the palace. Something quickly caught Faye's eyes. Further away at a corner of the palace was a huge, weirdly shaped double-handed axe. The handle with the massive blade was at least 5 feet long, and looked to weigh about 100 pounds. It stood by a black heavy armor. Its weight had put a dent in part of the tile floor. A bizarre-looking carving on the body of the axe made it look even more intimidating. Fei rushed over there and picked it up. Suddenly, Fei felt the axe and him had become one, as if the axe was a part of his body. He closed his eyes again and concentrated on the feeling. That's tight, this is the feeling of my level 3, weapon mastery in the dream. Especially with axes, because I was a barbarian. The double-handed axe was like a windmill in Fei's hands. All the axe techniques was performed by Fei at a master level, as if he had used axes for more than tens of years. Fei felt that he can conclude that his hypothesis was proven completely. He had actually acquired all the skills, strengths, damage and all the attributes of the level 5 barbarian in the dream. The newfound power had given Fei a profound sense of security. So this is the feeling of power, I wonder what level this power belongs to in this magical world. As Fei was feeling amazing about the newfound power, he suddenly remembered that Master Lampard said something about enemies still sieging the castle. Maybe I should go take a look. This thought grew stronger and stronger in Fei's mind. Maybe I could help with my power. Fei decided to go. On the point of safety, he picked out the thickest, heaviest armor in the palace and put it on. This armor had literally covered Fei from head to toe, with the only openings being the holes for Fei to see through. Fei felt like he was wearing the first ever Iron Man suit from the movie, Iron Man, the one that Robert Downey built in the Iraq. This 50-pound armor would literally anchor Fei to the ground, but now, Fei felt like he was wearing a Nike brand, ultra-thin, sweat-resistant running gear. Fei tapped the helmet with the axe. Fei was satisfied to hear the sound. Haha, no goddamn arrows will get me now. King Alexander. Roll out. Fei looked around as he left the palace quietly. He was trying to show off in front of the guards, but who knew that there was no one guarding the king. The palace was just quiet. As he kept walked, he saw 2 heavily wounded soldiers sleeping beside the palace's main gate. It looked like these 2 tired soldiers just came from the front line of battle. Shit. My palace is only guarded by 2 wounded soldiers, the battle must be at its peak. The battle cries were getting louder and louder, as Fei got closer and closer to the main gate of the castle. There is no time to waste. Fei thought as he started sprint even faster.